This country has some of the most educated people, trained at great expense by the people out there who are catching hell on the downside of society. They look to you. They trained you. They sacrificed for your education. You went to some of the best schools. You acquired the best qualifications. You owe them a debt.
Because if you don't know anything about Botswana, they had the same party ruling for over decades, for a few decades. So the people of Botswana said, you know what, we deserve better, we want more. They elected this president to office, and this president is not playing, and this is what we want to see. We hope he's sincere, we hope he stays on that trajectory, because we know how Africa is. It might start this way, and then down the road, it gets corrupted. We pray and hope it doesn't get corrupted. We know across Africa, most other African countries, I've seen videos of the president of Sierra Leone claiming to be a Pan-Africanist, but when you search deeper and look at what is actually happening in Sierra Leone, he's a full-blown dictator, but he's talking about Pan-Africanism, about Africa having a seat at the United Nations, a lot of these kinds of stuff. But these guys are not actually doing anything to improve the lives of their people. So that is why the white people don't even take them seriously. That you're asking for a seat at the table, you cannot even produce electricity, give clean drinking water, provide healthcare services for your people in your country, but you want to have a seat at the United Nations. Help me make it make sense. You don't have to ask. If you are that productive, believe me, you've earned the respect, of these folks, the United Nations and all these other places. They're the ones that are going to be calling you to come have a seat, right? Somebody has to deserve to have a seat at your table. I mean, like the saying goes, if you want to sit at the table with elders, you got to know how to wash your hands, right? So Africa, until Africans take responsibility for their actions and do the right thing, which is why I'm proud of this Botswana president. I'm going to let you listen to this speech real quick so you can see exactly what it is, and then we'll take it from there. But it's a great speech. Listen to him. This is the president of Botswana as he goes off on, state officials.
This country has some of the most educated people, trained at great expense by the people out there who are catching hell on the downside of society. They look to you. They trained you. They sacrificed for your education. You went to some of the best schools. You acquired the best qualifications. You owe them a debt. What are you doing for these people? When you sit in your office, and do you think about them? Creatures of flesh and blood catching hell at the margins of this economy. What do you think? What do you say about them? Every day, every minute of the day, what is it that you do that improves their lot? That's the question that should engage all of us.
But this is the president of Botswana addressing, state officials, because he believes the people of Botswana deserve so much more. And if you know anything about Botswana, Botswana is one of the most peaceful countries in Africa. You've never heard any skirmishes from Botswana. No fighting, no, troubles, no problems. Democracy thrives. We recently saw the elections they had, very peaceful transition of power. The president was in power for so long and he handed over power quietly. No trouble. The country is moving. Botswana, one of the most peaceful places on earth. I wish I was a Botswanan at this point, but I'm from Sierra Leone. There's a lot going on in Sierra Leone. If you know anything about Sierra Leone, the last elections we had, it's been 2 years up till today. We don't have the disaggregated data. We don't have the data from the polling stations to see how they announced the illegal president who's occupying power right now, how he was made president. We don't have the data to back up the fact that the Electoral Commissioner announced, the results that he won that election. So the people of Sierra Leone are still fighting for the votes, still fighting for their victory. The man who won the election, Dr. Samura Kamara, is still asking for his victory. If you know anything about Sierra Leone, that is what is actually happening. But today, this is about Botswana.
Educated people like yourselves, population of about 2.4 million, endowed with so much wealth. If the economy is not performing, it means the intelligentsia of the country has failed and has failed miserably. We all must admit to this collective failure, in my humble view. We have failed. This country shouldn't be where it is. This country shouldn't be in debt. There's no way. It is unjustifiable. I cannot, by the life in me, understand why we are where we are. I cannot. I refuse to embrace this unpleasant reality. I refuse. I am a persistent objector to this conventional and mundane existence. And so if we accept that we have failed this country, all of us, because we thought that diamonds are coming, they will keep, the revenue from the diamonds will keep coming, and whatever else, it's always going to flow. Over the years, if you've been there for a long time, you must hold yourself guilty. It's a mea culpa. Because it means you have been complicit in the failure. You've contributed immensely. And that's why perhaps people are saying you should be fired. Because they are saying, we shouldn't be here. We have educated people. They have been there. What have they done?
So guys, that is the president of Botswana asking the fundamental question. And this is what he's doing. He's challenging all of these officials sitting in that room to say that you are responsible for the destruction of this nation. I mean, basically for the sufferings of the people, for the teachers, the nurses, the police. You know, again, I don't know what is actually happening in Botswana, but I know Botswana is a very peaceful nation. And the fact that Botswana, you all know about the Botswana diamonds and all of that kind of stuff, right? The biggest diamond was found in Botswana. But we know the market for, diamonds, I mean, now they are lab diamonds. That's a conversation for another day. But the fact is, this is what we want to see. We want to see presidents that are holding their people's feet to the fire to make sure that they deliver for the population, for the rest of the folks out there. Because again, look, Africa has everything that we need so that the people do not even have to travel outside of the continent of Africa. But a lot of us are outside of the continent of Africa because Africa has not given us the opportunities that we deserve. You look at our leaders, they are thieves, they are corrupt, it's all about themselves. They want to fly overseas, bring their girlfriends, their kids, their wives, overseas, fly them on private jets. This is what is actually happening. Example is in Sierra Leone, the president in that country, who is currently illegal, by the way, because 2 years on, the elections results are still not known as to how he was announced as the president. He's traveling every other week. At least every other week he is traveling overseas, chartering private jets, spending millions of dollars on private jets with his family, traveling across the world. But again, that is what is happening. But look at Botswana. This president is holding everybody's feet to the fire. This is what Africans want to see. It's Ibrahim Traore's effect that is ripping across Africa. I think the African people are rising up, the people are waking up, and I tell African people as a whole, you have a responsibility as well, because sometimes your presidents need your support. Because a lot of times it's the people that have the problems in Africa themselves, because they are blinded by their tribal, connections or regional connections or blind loyalties to political figures. The African people don't really care about themselves as much. They don't put themselves forth. When they have leaders like these, they don't support them, give them the support that they need so that they can continue to stand on their behalf. And, a lot of African countries, you have these. For me, I'm a big believer that there should be no, these foolish shows that we see on African TVs, housemaids of this and that. We should not. Yeah, I know there's a saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, but I don't believe in those shows in Africa. The reason is it takes away from the civic education that Africa needs. And you all know I'm big on civic education, and we want to make sure the people of Africa are woken up. And until the people of Africa are woken up, pay attention to the real issues that are actually affecting their lives, they will not be able to reach the full potentials that they should reach, that they deserve, the life that they deserve. None of these countries are richer than Africa. You take the Denmarks, you take the Finlands, Sweden, all of these countries, they're not richer than African nations. So you ask yourself the question, if the people in Finland, in Sweden, in Denmark, in all these other beautiful European countries, in America, if they have 24-hour electricity, if they have clean drinking water, proper sanitation, good roads, tell me, why Africans should not be able to have the same? There is no excuse. The days of excuses are over. And this is why people like myself, we're pushing presidents like these, like the president of Botswana or Ibrahim Traore, to say that, hey, listen, African people, these are the people you want to stand with. Support them. Let them know that you see them. Let them know that you see the efforts that they are making. Because it's very important for the opposition figures and these government officials that are in there to understand that the people are with this man. And when the people are with you, they know not to mess with you. So again, we, the people of Africa, have to be serious and take responsibility for our actions as well. Pay attention to your politics. Don't say you don't like politics. I don't want to, anything politics. I don't want to be a part of that. No. Every one of us are political animals. So be part of the politics. As an African, you have to be ashamed of yourself if you're not involved in the political limelight and what is actually happening in your country. Pay attention to it. Give your own voice. Speak up about it. Let people hear what you have to say. Don't forget, you have a constitution that gives you rights to free speech, that protects your sanctity, your rights to protest. Use those. If you don't use them, you lose them. And that is what we see across Africa. We've seen lately what is actually happening too, like Sierra Leone is an example where the illegal ruling government has co-opted the opposition. So the opposition is meaningless. They are useless at this point. They don't even stand up to these guys. They can do whatever they want to do. Again, go back to the fact that the opposition won the elections. They said they won the elections, but the opposition in Sierra Leone says, we don't want the victory. So that is what is happening across Africa. And so the people of Botswana, I'm proud of you all. Keep doing what you do. Let's continue to listen to your president. He's a great man. I think the people deserve to hear this. Listen to him right here.
First question is, are we properly suited to the demands of the positions that we occupy? And that's a broad but profound question. You may be suited, and I encountered this when I was looking at competence to become a judge. There are some great lawyers, brilliant folks, very good lawyers, but who could not survive as judges because they don't have the temperament, the judicial temperament. It's not just about knowing the law, reading the law books. There's a temperament that goes with it. Are you able to sit and listen to somebody talk nonsense, sometimes even insult you? Are you able to listen, sit through that, and then sift through all that and find that nugget of rationality in that mass of nonsense that can save this person? That's the temperament. And so the positions that you occupy don't just require technical competence. They require some temperament, some emotional intelligence. Very important. And sometimes we lack this or we fall short. And when we do, we need to be conscious and raise ourselves to the required levels. So the temperament is critical as well. And that temperament requires us to have the capacity to hear, to listen, to hear what people are saying, and to heed the advice that comes from them.
You know, guys, that is a very important point he's making about temperament, because we all know in Africa, the moment some of these people are given positions of authority, now they forget that they are servants of the people. They automatically think that they are now gods over the people. So they don't listen to you anymore because they feel like, you know, they are better than the population that actually give them the power. Again, remember, right? Sovereignty belongs to the people. In every country that you go to, sovereignty belongs to you, the people. Therefore, these government officials, they derive their power, their authority, and their legitimacy from you, the people of that nation, which is what your president in Botswana is showing. Therefore, political figures, officials appointed by you, the people, should show the same level of respect. So your president is saying, even if somebody insults you, but in Africa these days, I'm not saying we're not going to support, people using abusive languages, cussing out your mother and stuff like that. But people sometimes get so very hot and they say certain things. That's totally, different from, using abusive, invectives against your mother or this and that, right? We shouldn't have a discourse like that. But sometimes people get angry, they get it, and can use other words, that are sometimes derogatory. But does that mean you should now forget about making sure that you dispense the law effectively and properly? Should you now go against the people because they've said something that you don't like? So therefore, you're going to make sure their right becomes a wrong? That is what he's saying. This is what we want to see. Again, this is all borders along the rights to free speech, rights to protest, right? Your fundamental, basic human right, that is being trampled upon across the world as we see today. So I want to thank the president of Botswana. Keep doing what you do. We're proud of you. We're looking at you. We're watching you, and we'll definitely make sure that we put the messages out there so people would see the good work you're doing, and they will emulate your example just as much as they're emulating the example of Ibrahim Traore. Kudos to the people of Botswana. Thank you. Until the next video, I'll see you again. Bye-bye.